properties of fluids. Already we have seen what is specific gravity, specific weight, or specific mass density. So today we are going to see the other properties of this fluid. One is vapor pressure. So what is vapor pressure? Let me explain you with an example. Suppose you have a beaker or any vessel which is close to the surface and you are heating it up. What happens? Take it, let it be water, it's of no issue, so you can take any other liquid also. So when it gets heated up, it's eventual that it will be get, if it is open to the surface, the vapor will be forming and it will be escaped to that of the surface. Alright, so it's a tendency of the liquid to evaporate and to transfer into vapor form where it is get heated up. Okay, so it moves from liquid form to vapor form. So in this case, what happens here? This vessel is being kept closed. So what happens here? The liquid particles or the molecules will be converted into vapor form, but there is no way for it to escape. It's a closed lid. Am I right? So in this case, what happens is the pressure, these molecules will accumulate in this free surface where there is no liquid now. In that free surface, the liquid particles will get accumulated, or the vapor particles will be get accumulated. So what happens here? This vapor particles will in turn create a pressure on this liquid surface. That pressure is called as vapor pressure. Is it clear? So when we heat some water or any liquid in a closed vessel, the water or the liquid will get boiled, and it gets boiled, the molecules will be, vapor molecules will be formed, and this vapor molecules, since it is a closed lid, it will not escape to the atmosphere. So this vapor molecules in turn will create a pressure on the liquid surface. That's why that pressure is called as vapor pressure. So this as the temperature is increased, this formation of molecules into vapor is also increased. Okay, and eventually the vapor pressure will also be get increased. So with the increase in temperature, more number of liquid particles will be formed into vapor molecules, and therefore the vapor pressure will also be high. Okay, so this is your first property what we are seeing today. And second one is boiling or boiling points. We all know very well that boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade. But there is a concept that even any liquid can boil at ordinary temperatures also. In which case, the pressure of this liquid, it should be less than or equal to that of the vapor pressure. So in such case, any liquid can boil or can come to boil in any ordinary temperature, not at the boiling temperature alone. It can bring it to any other ordinary temperature itself, it will be able to boil. Okay, so that is called as boiling point or boiling of the surface. And third property is cavitation. The same concept here we are using it. We are closing the tank. That is in a confined vessel. We are heating the liquid. So in this case, what happens here is, already as I said, here the molecules will try to escape, but there is no provision, so it will occupy this vacuum space and it will exert a pressure on this liquid, that is vapor pressure. But one more action will take place. What is that? This vapor pressure will exert some pressure on this also. On this means it's a metallic surface which is closed at the top. So the vapor pressure which is exerted a pressure on the metallic surface, so that is said to be a pitting action, and it will create some holes on this metallic surface, or it will create some cavities. So this cavities or this phenomenon is called as cavitation. I repeat, when the liquid is boiled inside a closed vessel, so the liquid will get evaporated or it will be turned into vapor molecules, and under high pressure, this boiling bubbles of this liquid it will break and it will get collapsed and it will hit the surface on the top, that is your metallic surface. So which will cause a hitting action on the surface, which will cause this a cavitation or a hole on the surface of the lid or any other metal surface which is covered at the top. So that phenomenon is called as cavitation. Okay, so we have seen three properties. One is vapor pressure, second one is boiling property, and third one is surface tension. So before we will see what is the definition, then I will explain you what is behind that. See, surface tension, it is a property, or we can say it is defined as we are going to do is first we will see the definition, then I will say you what is surface tension. I will explain you. Okay. So it is defined as a tensile force acting on the surface of a liquid in contact with gas or between two immiscible liquids so that the contact surface behaves like a membrane under tension. Okay, so though this definition looks quite bigger, when you see the concept, it is very simple. See, just I will show you. Have any surface underneath you are covered with water. So what does it mean is, here this area is filled with gas, that is it's open to the atmosphere, and at the bottom you have here water. Okay, so now consider any particle here or any molecule here. Say the molecule is C. What is the tendency of this molecule is, it will be get attracted by the molecules in the surroundings with equal force and opposite force. Okay, so that is called your tensile force. What is a tensile force? As I already said, will give equal and opposite pulling. The same way, this molecule A will be attracted by all other molecules which is located in the liquid, since it is in liquid surface now, everywhere. So what happens, it will be get attracted by all the molecules around it with equal and opposite forces. So what happens here, the resultant force of this molecule will be 0. Why? Because it's pulling upward as well as downward with the same quantum. Okay, so with the same amount. So it is both upward and downward means it's in opposite direction, so it will become 0. Similarly here also it is in opposite direction. So the resultant force on this molecule will be 0. Am I right? But you consider one more molecule here which is in contact with that of the gas. That is, one portion is in contact with the liquid and a small portion is in contact with that of the gas. So what happens here? These forces are okay, but when you come to this force, that is the downward forces, okay, the upward force will be very less. The upward force is very less compared to that of the downward force. That means the downward water force due to gravity is getting pulling down the molecules. So this area will be having some tensile force. Okay, so that force is said to be your surface tension. I could say you this, see, it is defined as a tensile force acting on the surface of a liquid. So it is acting on the surface of the liquid, it is a force in contact with gas. So here it is in contact with it of the gas. But in some other cases it can be in contact with two immiscible liquids. Immiscible liquids means which will not mingle together. For example, oil and water. If you add oil and water also, it will not get dissolved. Okay, it will be immiscible. Okay, so that the contact surface behaves like a membrane under tension. So this contact surface now, it will be behave like a membrane under tension. Okay, so that is called as surface tension. I will give you one more example. See, this here the point of contact is very less, right? We will go for one more case where you have the point of contact is more. See, here it is fully being contacted, the half of the molecule is being contacted. So the downward force is only like this. Okay. So here this point C, this molecule C now, it has more surface tensile force. Okay. So I repeat, what is the surface tension? It is a tensile force that is acting on the surface. Okay, it may be between a gas and a liquid or between two immersible liquids. So that this surface now it behaves like a tension membrane or a membrane under tension. Okay. So this is your surface tension. Now we are going to derive some equation for this surface tension. And usually this surface tension is given by notation sigma. How do you pronounce it? Sigma. Okay. Now we have three cases. One is for water droplet. Surface tension for and a water droplet. You know water droplets? Its circumferential area. So just consider this a water droplet. And so obviously we consider that as a circular one. Cut this water droplet into two equal halves. Okay, so this is your water droplet. When you cut into two equal halves. Okay. Usually the surface tension force, where does it act? It acts on the surface, contact surface. Okay. So here also the surface tension force is acting on the contact surface, which is said to be the circumference of the bubble. Okay, so this is denoted by sigma. So this is your surface tension force, or you can say as a tensile force, whatever will be there. And one more is we have an internal pressure which is developed inside the bubble. So that pressure is also we have given it up. Okay, so this internal pressure will be developed inside these bubbles P. Let it be P. So this is your pressure force. So under equilibrium condition, this both will be equal and opposite. That is, surface tensile force will be equal and opposite to that of the pressure force. Okay, so what is this tensile force? How it is given? Though we are given this surface tension as sigma, this tensile force is given by the formula surface tension into circumference of this water droplet. Why it's circumference only we are taking it up? Because the surface tension is going to act only on the surface of this contact. Right? So it's only going to act on the surface. It's not on the other areas of the molecules. So here sigma into the surface tension. The circumference for this bubble is pi into d. Okay, so we have got the tensile force. Then what happens to the pressure force? We have to get it pressure force. The pressure here what we have assumed is P. Okay. So when you come for the pressure force, it is pressure into area. This is a simple thing. Okay, we normally how will you get it pressure? Pressure is equal to force by area. So this is a reverse of that we have made. So here we have to find out what is the area. So area of this is once again a circle na. So we can get it up to circular area. So it is pi by 4 d square. Clear? So as per our concept, the surface tensile force at equilibrium it has to be equal to that of the pressure force. Am I right? So here we are equating these two equations. So that is sigma into pi d. Please mention always this one under equilibrium condition, not other conditions. Only in equilibrium condition the surface tensile force will be equal to that of the pressure force. So sigma into pi d is equal to P into pi by 4 d square. Am I right? So you cancel this pi dd. So what is it? Sigma is equal to Pd by 4. or we can say P is equal to 4 sigma by D. Okay, if you want to find out the pressure force, you can find it out. Otherwise, what you can do it up, if you want to find out the surface tension, if you know the pressure and diameter, you will be able to find out the surface tension. Okay, so this is the case of a water droplet. So second case is, we are going to find out what is the surface tension for a hollow bubble. A very good example for your hollow bubble is your soap bubble. You might have practiced in kids by just blowing up the soap bubble. You could be able to see. It would be having a center hole now. So that surface tension of a hollow bubble. Here what is the difference is, every the bubble is going to be divided into two and it's going to have circumference, tensile force as well as a pressure. Tensile and pressure is going to act upon this. But here the tensile force, since we have two hollow surface, that is two surface we have, this circumferential area is twice here. Here we have only one area of contact, that is one surface of contact, that's why we have given one circumference. But in case of hollow bubble, we have outer surface as well as inner surface. So two surfaces will be here. So the tensile force will be the same equation, sigma into 2 pi d. Have you understood why 2 is given? Because we have two surfaces. One is the exterior surface of the hollow bubble and other one is interior surface. In both the surface we have this tensile force. Okay. And the other one is pressure force. There is no difference between the pressure force because only at the in-between surface is going to act. So it is P into pi by 4 d square. Alright. So our equilibrium condition, both cases are same. So we are writing it as P into pi by 4 d square, we are equating it up, is equal to sigma into 2 pi d. So what is P here? When you solve this, we will get P is equal to 8 sigma by d. So 4 into 2 now, that is 8, that's all. So P is equal to 8 sigma by d. Is it clear? So we have derived the expression for surface tension of a water droplet and surface tension of a hollow bubble. So what is the unit for this surface tension? So the unit for this surface tension is Newton per meter. Okay, it's Newton per meter. It's a unit for your pressure, the same thing. Okay, so now we will go for the third case. So under surface tension, we have three cases. One is for a water droplet, another one is for a soap bubble or a hollow bubble, and third case is for your liquid jet. Okay, so now we are going to see surface tension for a liquid jet. See, consider a jet, okay, whose diameter is d and whose length is L. This is a water jet. Okay, now once again we are cutting the surface into two halves. So how it will be like this? So where does the pressure force acts here? That is your surface tension force acts here. So this is the contact area with that of the outer atmosphere. So the surface tensile force or surface tension acts here. Okay, and as usual you have a internal pressure force also. Okay, internal pressure force P is also, pressure is also there. So what is the equation here? The same equation we have to get it, but the formula is, the value is different because the water droplet and hollow bubble what we have seen is circular one and this is one is cylindrical one, or we can say this like this rectangle. So in here in tensile force we get it up sigma into circumference, but here the circumference value is 2L. Okay, so this is 2L. When you go for pressure force, what is pressure force? Pressure into area, right? So here area is, once again we are considering, though it is cylindrical, we are considering as a what's it? Length into breadth. So you will be getting it up as L into D. Pressure is equal to L into D. We are taking only the plane surface now, so L into D. So under equilibrium condition, once again we equate this equation number 1 and equation number 2. That is your tensile force and pressure force. So you will be getting sigma into 2L is equal to P into L into D. Solve this. So what is P? P is equal to 2 sigma by D. So from this expressions, when you observe it up, in the case of a hollow bubble, your pressure, that equation is having 8 sigma by D. Okay. In case of ordinary water droplet, it is 4 sigma by D. And in case of your liquid jet, it is 2 sigma by D. Only thing is this value 2, 4 and 8 is changed. So you have to remember this equations for drawing out the problem. Okay, so now we will go for a problem. Yes guys, we are going to see the two problems here related to surface tension. First we will go one by one. The surface tension of water in contact with air at 20 degrees centigrade is 0.0725 Newton per meter. So, I already said what is the unit for surface tension? It is Newton per meter. So, whenever any problem is given, you have to write what is given in the problem. So, what are the details that is given? So, here surface tension is given. It is given by the symbol sigma. So, it is 0.0725 Newton per meter. Okay, everything is the same unit, Newton and meter. And here the second one is the pressure inside a droplet. So here they didn't mention you water jet, they didn't mention you as hollow bubble, instead they have given you as a droplet of water. It is to be, pressure is to be 0.02 Newton per centimeter square. So where does the problem comes? This is in Newton per meter and this is in Newton per centimeter square. So we have to convert this in terms of meters. Always preferably have it in meters. What is that is? 1 centimeter is equal to, or you can say 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter and 1 centimeter is equal to 10 power minus 2 meter. Okay. So if it is 1 centimeter square, it is 10 power minus 4 meter square. So then and there itself you convert it up so that it will leave you that. So 0.02 Newton. Instead of centimeter square, I am going to change into meter square. So it is 10 power minus 4 meter square. So 10 power minus 4 itself is a positive now. So when it comes, I mean it's negative here, when it comes to the numerator it will become positive. So it is 0.02 into 10 to the power 4 Newton per meter square. Clear how the unit conversion is there? So here this is 10 power minus 4 is division. Already this centimeter square is in division only. So this will become divide by divide. So it will be taken to the numerator. It is 10 to the power of 4. Okay. So you have converted the pressure also. Now what is asked? Calculate the diameter of the droplet of water. Since this is a direct question, what is the droplet formula for this? Usually have P is equal to, remember, for the case of droplet it is 4 sigma by D. For the case of hollow bubble it is 8 sigma by D, that is double. And for the case of liquid jet it is just half, it is 2 sigma by D. So this is the case of droplet. So P is equal to 4 sigma by D. P is known, sigma is known, only the D diameter we have to find out. Okay. So just substitute here value 0.02 into 10 to the power 4 is equal to 4 into 0.0725. Just you bring it to this and bring this to division, you will be able to get the answers. Okay. So what is the answer you get here is D is equal to, that is the diameter of the water droplet is 0.0145 meters. 0.00145 meters. So here what is it is, usually we prefer this, it is in meter, we prefer the diameter in millimeters because droplets are very small now. We cannot even go for centimeters, we have to go for millimeters. So how will you convert meters into millimeters? 1 meter is equal to 1000 mm. See, these are all the basic units you have to remember always. Okay, for any problem, not only for fluid mechanics, for any other subjects also you need this basic conversion. So 1 meter is equal to 1000 mm. So here it is how many it is? 0.00145 meters. So diameter is 0.00145 into 1000 because I am converting into mm. So diameter of the droplet will be 1.45 mm. Is it clear? So in this question they have given you directly, so you have just substituted. But always remember you have to check the unit conversion. Now once you check and go for the second problem. So what is here is, this is also same, find the surface tension, but here the case is soap bubble of 40 mm diameter. Diameter is given here. When the inside pressure is 2.5 Newton per meter square above the atmospheric pressure. So they asked you to find out the surface tension. So this is the case of soap bubble. Soap bubble is once again a hollow bubble, hollow surface. So in this case, diameter is given, that is D is given 40 mm. Please convert it to meters. Just like I said, 1 meter is equal to 1000 mm. So what is 1 mm? It is 10 power minus 3 meters. Alright. So you can write it here, 40 into 10 power minus 3 meters. Pressure is given, it is 2.5 Newton per meter square. So here they have given you a Newton per meter square. In the previous problem it was Newton per centimeter square. So we have converted here. And here there is no need for any conversion. We can take it as such. Okay. So what is asked? Surface tension sigma is asked. So what is the formula for soap bubble? As I already said, P is equal to 4 sigma by D is for droplet. And double that because the surface is doubled here now. So here it is P is equal to 8 sigma by D. So from this you will be able to find out what is sigma. So P is known, 2.5, 8 into sigma is unknown, diameter is 40 into 10 power minus 3. So just substitute here and cross multiply and divide, you will be able to get what is the value of sigma. Okay, sigma is equal to 0.0125. So what is the unit for this sigma? As I already said, it is Newton per meter. If you are not able to remember the unit, have it is, what is the unit for pressure? Pressure unit is Newton per meter square. Am I right? So here when you go for here, 8 sigma is equal to, pressure is equal to sigma by D. So pressure is Newton per meter square. Sigma is unknown, D is meter. So it will become like Newton meter per meter square. So it will get cancelled. So sigma is equal to Newton per meter. Okay, so this is just a simple way to recall the units if you are able to forget it. Just by simple substitution you will be able to know what is the unit for surface tension. Okay guys, so we have seen two problems. We will see one more problem between the other previous problems and this problem. In the previous problem we have got the direct reading, so you have just substituted in the formula, you have got the answers. Only certain unit conversions we have made. So in this case what happens here, just read out the problem. The pressure outside the droplet of water. Here also it is given only the droplet of water. The pressure outside is given. Okay. The size of this droplet is diameter is 0.04 mm and the outside pressure is 10.3 Newton per centimeter square. So they have mentioned you clearly here. It's an atmospheric pressure. That means it's not the pressure inside the bubble or the pressure what is created in the bubble. So calculate the pressure within the droplet if surface tension is given. Okay, so what you know in this first detail what is given is water droplet. Alright. So in case of water droplet, you know the formula P is equal to 4 sigma by D. Now, what is given? Diameter is given. It is 0.04 mm. Please convert it into meter. It is 0.04 into 10 power minus 3 meters. Okay. And they have given you a pressure, but they have mentioned this as outside pressure. It is not the pressure of the droplet. So the outside pressure here is 10.32 Newton per centimeter square. So when you convert into meter square, it is 10.32 into 10 to the power 4 Newton per meter square. Right. So centimeter square is 1 centimeter is 10 power minus 2 meters. So 1 centimeter square is 10 power minus 4 meter square. So when 10 power minus 4 in the denominator, when it comes to the numerator, it will become plus 4. So into 10 to the power 4 Newton per meter square. Okay. And surface tension sigma is given here. So what is surface tension sigma? 0.0725 Newton per meter. Check, everything has to be in the same unit. So we have only meters and Newton per meter. So what is asked here is, they have asked you to find out the pressure within the droplet. Say this is a droplet. We are going to cut this into two halves. Okay. So this is one half where we are going to check about the pressure. Normally the pressure in the surface now, that is will be taken for your surface tension. And here they have given you the pressure what is outside. Say let you take it as PO. Okay. But what is asked is, they asked you to find out what is the pressure within the droplet. This pressure is asked. Say we can say PW or within inside you can say anything. Okay. So now what I am going to do is, this formula what is used now, that is the pressure, this pressure. Pressure on the surface tension of the body because of the surface tension what has been created. So use this formula. P is equal to 4 sigma by D. 4 into sigma is 0.0725 divided by D is 0.04 into 10 power minus 3. So what is this pressure? This is the pressure we can say in the droplet. That is because of the surface tension force. Okay. So what is the answer you are getting here is, just solve this. You will be able to get it out. 7250 Newton per meter square. Once again, convert this into centimeter square, or you can keep it as such. So just for easy calculation, I am converting this into centimeter square. So it is 0.7. So this is not 52, this is 25. 0.7250 Newton per centimeter square. So this is the value of your pressure. P is 0.7250 Newton per centimeter square. Now what is our task? Our task is not only finding out this pressure, we have to find out what is the pressure within the droplet. Just for easy understanding, I have given you PW. So pressure within the droplet. Or we can say inside the droplet, anything. So the pressure within the droplet, PW is equal to the pressure that is created because of the surface tension plus the outside pressure. Okay. So here the pressure is, we have converted into Newton per centimeter square. So keep it Newton per centimeter square itself. And similarly, when you subtract this pressure, you have to take it only in the case of Newton per centimeter square. Okay. So it is 10.32. So just we can add it up because both the pressures are the same unit, Newton per centimeter square, Newton per centimeter square. When you add it up, the answer will be 11.45 Newton per centimeter square. So what is the pressure within the droplet? It is pressure inside the droplet, or we can say pressure within the droplets is 11.45 Newton per centimeter square. Now we understood what is the difference between the previous problem and other problems. So that's what I said. Direct questions will come only at very rare case. All other cases will be having some twisted questions. You should be able to understand the concept and you have to work it out the problems. Okay. So in this class, what we have seen, just we will recap once. So we are seeing some of the properties of the fluids. Already we have seen few properties. So here we have seen the rest of the properties. One is vapor pressure. Another one is boiling point. Third one is cavitation. And fourth one is surface tension. In case of surface tension, we have seen the surface tension of a water droplet. Surface tension of a bubble, that is your hollow bubble or soap bubble. And cases of your liquid jet. So you have used 3 equations here. So for water droplet, P is equal to 4 sigma by D. For hollow bubble, it is P is equal to 8 sigma by D. And for liquid jet, it is P is equal to 2 sigma by D. So these are the equations, you got it. And the unit for the surface tension is Newton per meter. And the symbol what is used is sigma. Okay. So here we have seen all these properties. In the next class, we will see the rest of the properties. Thank you guys.